Welcome to Wandering But Not Lost, your online source for finding balance so that you can align, connect, and prosper. And now your hosts, Jen O'Brien and Matt Emerson.
Welcome everybody to our Wandering But Not Lost podcast, our very first, our inaugural episode. I'm Jen O'Brien.
And I am Matt Emerson, and we are really excited to be coming to you today. We've been talking about this for a long time, haven't we, Jen?
Yes, we have. 2017, we probably had it on our list of goals, because we're going to talk about that today, goals and outcomes and finding ways that you're going to set yourself up for the new year. And we had it on there, but I'll tell you, we also decided, I think, Matt, that 2018 was going to be our year, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
All right, so WBNL Coaching. So let's talk about a little bit about who we are and what this format of our show is going to be, because we're going to kind of cover three segments. Our goal is to do this weekly, correct?
That's correct.
We're in. All right. And
totally in, 100%.
So we're a coaching company that does a little bit of travel and really talks about this balance between. One of our favorite hashtags is actually get up and get out, right, Matt? Because we believe that it's not all about work. So.
No. You need to recharge and refresh in order to really, really, really do a great job. We're going to talk about some, tips and tools that you can use to supercharge and get your business going. And we're also going to have a main topic of the week, special presenters. We have a whole slate of things lined up for you guys this year.
So again, we're wanting to do about a 30 to 40-minute podcast every week where we'll provide a tip, as Matt just said, a business tip. We're a real estate business coaching company. And we cover all types of topics from social media to mindset, attitude, to productivity, technology, and business systems. So we're going to always have something on that. We're going to have a main segment where we'll cover really what's the topic of the day. We're going to do interviews. We're excited to bring some people in that are industry leaders. We focus a lot in our coaching company. We focus on teams. We have a real estate team building product that we think is second to none out there. And we have a lot of teams and brokers across the country that want to share their success stories. So we're going to bring you that. And then Matt, what's the piece that you're going to cover?
Well, every week we're going to talk about how you can get up and get out. Just some ideas that might be able to spark your imagination, to give you some ideas on how to get out of your office, get off your butt, and like we said a minute ago, to kind of recharge your brain and stimulate your mind. So we're going to talk about some things that we have done. Some national parks are a big thing on both of our agendas and our to-do lists, and we've done a lot of hiking through the national park. So we're going to share a lot of those journeys and exciting adventures that we've been on. And we hope to, as time goes on, hear from you and get some ideas from you and some stories about what you've done to get out and get up.
And disclaimer, you're going to be always able to access all of our content. We have a lot of free downloads to give you, freebies, and there's two main websites that you're going to want to go to. WBNLcoaching.com /podcast is where you're going to be able to find all of our show notes with links to anything that we're talking about or any goodies that we have to give you. And also Matt blogs on wanderingbutnotlost.com, where he really does have some awesome insights, and he'll be sharing with you those insights and his personal experiences in some of the coolest places to go, from some amazing out of the way places in various cities that you've traveled to, as well as a national park. So with that, let's jump into our first tip on our first ever episode. And as we are coming to a close, it's the last week of December as we do our initial podcast. We're setting ourselves up for this 2018 and super excited to be sharing it in this podcasting format. We're actually, Matt, we are not strangers to recording. If anybody remembers out there in the audience, we were early blabbers. That'll really kind of set us, that was the platform that came in a couple years ago and then kind of disappeared because of the big guys, Facebook and YouTube, and everybody getting into live streaming. And podcasts have become super popular. So it was just natural for us to go into this. We probably have over 250 videos, training videos that we've recorded just in the last 2 years. And that's all part of our online platform. And you'll be able to learn more about that as you take a look at our show notes and so forth. But as we come to the end of the year, this is the thing. I am not a big believer in setting resolutions. And Matt, I like to set goals and outcomes, but Matt, maybe you can share your opinion on goal writing? Because this show is about setting yourself up for the new year, but maybe you do it a little bit differently than what I'm going to talk about.
To me, I think it's all it's a personal thing, right? I mean, there are some people that really need to have the daily notes, the daily goals that are set up for you. And I think that's fantastic. If that's what works for you, then you absolutely need to do it that way. And we will be talking about some really fantastic tools that will allow you to do that. Other people don't need quite as much, to keep them motivated and keep them going. I'm like one of those guys that, even though I have been in business for way too long and have done business plans out the kazoo, I'm not a real big personal planner myself. I have goals and objectives that I have set, but I don't have to refer to a piece of paper every single day, and that works for me. So I think it's just your individual taste and whatever works, because the idea is to get to the end.
But I've known you a while now, and is it not, I think that you and your lovely wife Laura, you guys do some serious planning when it comes to choosing what you're going to do around your travel plans for the year.
We do.
Now that's part of what I'm talking about too, which I actually think is maybe a more important thing to do before we start talking how much money do you want to make and what's your goals for this. And people are, the classic stuff. I want to lose this much weight. I'm going to, the resolutions piece that never really seems to work. The most people are in the gym in January, and then by February, they're all out of the gym again. But isn't that true? Don't you guys do some serious set goals for where you're going to go?
Absolutely. We always talk. Well, this is the fun thing that we always do. We almost always plan our next big adventure during the adventure that we are currently on.
That's awesome.
And it's fun because, and we do it. I mean, literally every summer when we plan our, kind of our 2-week trip of the year, we do at some point during that say, hey, next summer, let's do this. And we'll actually start making reservations almost a year ahead of time. But what we do to kind of stimulate our idea about what we're going to do is we'll get a map and we throw it on the wall and then kind of plan our trip around that. So we kind of study the area out. So yeah, I guess you're right, Jen O'Brien. You caught me there. We do some planning and we do actually write some things down. So
and you always make it happen because I've seen the results of that intricate plan. And when we get into what we're going to talk about today on my path, I just happen to help, and Matt has helped me create some tools that might help you do just that. So if you have a goal of going, like for me, I want to go to Sequoia National Park in 2018. And I have somebody awesome who's going to help me get there. And I'm sure they will plan it all out, which I got to go to my first national park in a big way last year when I went with you guys to Yosemite, which was just amazing. So
we had a blast.
So excited to do it again. But what came with that is a really awesome plan. The goal was we're going to go to Yosemite, and then there was a whole plan that went around it, including all the cool things. Now, that's what I'm looking forward to as we continue to share your insights on this podcast, because you guys really know the things to do, the out of the way kind of things to do, from the national parks to the various cities. And I've been to the same cities you've been to, but I have never been to some of the places you guys.
No, the road less traveled is always the way to go, in our opinion, right? Exactly. And to really get out there and kind of explore. And you have to do the things that are the most touristy things or the things that are the most popular. You have to see those. That's just part of the thing. But once you've done that, a lot of people will never go back. I mean, New York City is a great example of that, right? Once people will go there, they'll do the, Times Square, they'll do the Empire State Building, they'll, check out maybe Wall Street or, the Freedom Tower, and that's kind of it. Right. But there are 10 million other things to do there. Once you've done those, you just have to find them. And it's doing a little research and really just getting out and walking around. I'm telling you right now, you find more things if you're out just walking around and paying attention to what you're looking at than you would ever find at any book or any podcast or any research you could do online.
Well, right there is the positive tip of the year, and that's about being present and in the moment wherever you are. And we're definitely going to be talking more about that in the future around things around mindfulness and being present. So I want to set up this tip as we've just been talking about setting your goals, your outcomes, your plans, whatever you loosely want to call that, but they're not going to be resolutions in my book. And the tip that we have for you, and we have a download that you can get, again, just go to the WBNLcoaching.com. You'll be able to get to our podcast, and we have something called Celebrate, Reflect, and Celebrate. And all this is a series of questions, because this is really powerful. I do a lot of coaching with top producing agents and brokers around the country. And this was something that was shared with me, my coach, probably 10 years ago. And I talk about it every year. I post it on my blog every year. And it's about stopping and reflecting about what happened in your past year, to celebrate. Where were the little joys? Where were the wins? Where were the successes? And why I think this is important is that if you are a driven personality, and most top producing business people, real estate agents, and so on, have a tendency to just focus on what they did and accomplish. Does that make sense? So this exercise allows you to go back and really evaluate. You may just think like last year, whatever the events are that impacted you, whether it was stuff happening in the world, in the country, for you personally. I mean, Matt and I shared an experience, but in different parts of Florida, when we both happened to be visiting our families when Irma hit, right?
That's right.
And I mean,
Irma.
I mean, I learned so much about that because I was in Tampa where it was supposed to hit, but frankly, you were in Fort Myers, where it really hit a little bit. The impact was, I think, Naples, or right there with Naples and Fort Myers. But that's a story for another day. But needless to say, what I learned from all of that was the importance of being prepared, knowing what you need to do if you live anywhere where there could be a natural disaster. And let's face it, Matt's in California, I'm in Vegas. Maybe we don't have it. Maybe Vegas is the place to live now. There's no water. We got some minor earthquakes. I think you got to worry more about earthquakes and wildfires. I mean, that was a theme this past year, right? Just natural disasters. I think California's still burning, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, yeah. California's been burning for practically all of 2017, but it's gotten really bad the last few months with the Santa Ana's kicking up. So it's been a little of a trial for us here.
And you actually had to evacuate during that one.
Evacuated twice, and for Irma, came home and evacuated here. The thing for me, out of all those natural disasters that occurred this year, and I could really have looked back on this year and really thought, poor me, doom and gloom, right? But for me, you can always find that silver lining in there too, right? And that's the thing that I think when I look back on last year, that Irma was a butt kicker, and there was no power at my mom's house for 10 days. And the store. I mean, the what you could talk about is just mind-boggling. Until you go through that, you really wouldn't know. But at the end of the day, everything was great. Her house was fine. Everyone was healthy. Everyone got out of it just fine. The same thing with the fires. Yeah, were we scared we were going to lose our place? Absolutely, we were worried about that. But at the end of the trauma that happened over those couple days, everything actually was just fine, right? So if you look at the positive side of that, I mean, now, with that said, there were a lot of people that had a lot of tragedy.
That's right.
But at the same time, I am an optimistic guy, so I'm always looking for the thing that kind of can boost me up and keep me going to kind of jumpstart my getting yourself out of the doldrums, I guess, is what that really is. And there's a lot of positivity that's around.
So out of those tragedies, like I lived through this Las Vegas mass shooting, and I will tell you that. And so this is part of what I'm saying, that even out of looking back and in finding the positives, even in horrendous negative situations, whether it be the hurricane or the fires or this terrible mass tragedy, what I got out of that, what I learned from all of this is how important it is to make sure you are doing the things that you're passionate about, how important it is to spend time with your family and the people that you care about most. And are you doing the right thing? Are you happy with where you are in your life? That's really what the awareness, it was about being in the present moment. For that massacre, what happened here in the city is it impacted everybody individually. And I think it impacted so many people because everybody has been to Vegas generally.
Sure.
So they could realize, they could see themselves at the Mandalay Bay and just experiencing that. But what I have found is a new sense of community here. Las Vegas is very interesting city. There's so many people that aren't from here. It's very, very seldom that you meet a real, no kidding native. And when you do, you're like, wow, you can talk forever about how things used to look when they were growing up in the Las Vegas area. But the sense of community here is overwhelming, and it's awesome. And it's I think it happened in Houston. I think it happened in Florida. I think it happened everywhere. People just got a sense of like, let's turn off the news and let's turn off all the craziness and let's just focus on what's important. And I think that's what I wanted to share with that. So download our document, and then where you can also find those wins and those positive things that happened, even if you're finding the positives and the negatives, is the tip here is to go look at your social media feeds. We have a tendency, Facebook is great for one thing, and that is kind of capturing all those moments. Most of the time they're good. Sometimes people like to post all the negative stuff. I'm not for that. and share with the entire Facebook friends and family whatever woe they're happening to have. I don't prescribe to that. But if you go look at your camera roll, if you hold on to, go here and look at your camera roll, like I have at least, 4,000 photos. If you're like my sister, she deletes them as soon as she has them, and she, does this. I mean, I don't know, but that's what she does. Just like she deletes her text. But that's where you get those, oh yeah, that happened. And so anyway, if you download our free little PDF, it'll walk you through this process. And that's a great way to get set up in a space to reflect and appreciate what happened in the last year, so that you can set yourself up for the new year. So that's our tip. Reflect on the past year and then celebrate the successes and get yourself in the right mindset to do some planning for the new year, whatever that looks like to you. I'm going to share a document that we have for you called My Path 2018. So you can thank Matt for all the awesome graphics, and you'll start to see a theme when you take a look at any material you get from WBNL Coaching, and it's definitely honoring and celebrating the great outdoors, right?
Absolutely. So, it's inspirational.
It's totally inspirational, and so when you go to any of our sites, you're going to see Matt's photography and some of the awesome places that he's been and that we want to continue to share and that we'll be talking about. But My Path 2018 is a document that we created for you. It's a free download. It's a PDF. It has, I think it's got about 15, 16 pages in it. And it's a bunch of worksheets that are editable, or you could print them out. And it comes with instructions. So I'm going to give you these high level, what's in this booklet today for you. And then you can certainly go to wbnlcoaching.com/podcast, or just go to our website, either there or wanderingbutnotlost.com, and you'll be able to get to our recent podcast and any of the free downloads we have. And this one is a big one, and we have this one for you. This is on our blog currently right now. So it starts with so a little bit of business. Review your year, no matter what your business is. As a matter of fact, we designed My Path not just for real estate agents. So no matter what your business is, if you're an entrepreneur, you can, if you have your own business, or even if you're just working somewhere thinking about making a transition to becoming your own business owner, this is just a real useful thing to take a look at in your business. What were your numbers? Where did your revenue come from? What were your expenses? Where'd your business come from? And then what are the takeaways from this past year? What did you learn? What worked? What didn't work? So this is just a quick overview of your year. And then we just create a little space here for you to do some mind mapping, brainstorming, doodling, write down some notes, things that you want to, as you get into this session of setting yourself up for the new year. This is really goal setting, a little bit of goal setting. And in this booklet, My Path is really literally a roadmap for you to review your last year, set your goals, and then some accountability things that we'll get to here in just a minute. So the long-term goals. So this is just, where do you want to be in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Classic, easy stuff. And then this is a little different. So this is a bit on, there's a great detail in the instructions here about setting intentions and focus. And to me, this is super powerful stuff here. And this is where I kind of get away from goal setting and the typical stuff, even though you can find some great content on our sites for business planning. As a matter of fact, we give away a business plan for free, right, Matt?
That's right.
Our basic membership at WBNLcoaching.com includes our complete real estate business plan with a lot of content on how to write smart goals. But here, what this is all about is setting the intention. I really feel that when you get clear about what it is that you're focusing on and how you set your intention and then you act on it, that's the key to success for accomplishing anything, right? So the idea here, and without getting into too much detail here, is if you're into feng shui, which I happen to like feng shui, you'll recognize this. This is the Bagua map. Feng shui generally is something that you do in your house or any space, your workspace, about setting intentions for different areas of your life. And so this map is really designed for you to take a look at different areas of your life, very much like goal setting. The wealth area, working on relationships and your health, your career, knowledge, family, etc. What do you want to do to focus in each of those areas? So we just created this really kind of fun worksheet that will allow you to either come up with a word, Maybe you want to get a mantra or a main focus for your year. Maybe you have a theme for your year. Maybe you're working on, health, being more successful, being more abundant. Perhaps you want to work on some other things, that is the focus for your year. So that's what this is all about. Okay. Moving on, we've got, Matt, one of the things that I realized in the years that I've been coaching and training and business planning is that this past year, I really decided to simplify things, meaning you don't need a laundry list of 20 goals, right? So I've come to this conclusion that it's all about the number 3. I don't know why it's 3, but 3 is magical. 3 is simpler. And so you're going to see a lot of rule of 3, just 3 things to focus on. And I think it's powerful. So in business right now, when I'm coaching real estate agents, I'm talking to them about, for any business, by the way, where's most of people's business come from, Matt? What is anybody going to tell me if I say, hey, where did all your business come from? Whether it's real estate or any kind of entrepreneur, what would you guess?
Referrals.
It's referrals. It's people that they know. So one for everyone is focusing on your database, or you're getting more referrals. And then sticking with this theme of 3 things, it's what are the 2 other areas that you want to focus on in your business this year? And it could be a niche. It could be something you're passionate about. It could be a demographic. It could be first-time home buyers. You get the idea here, but it needs to be something that you really enjoy. So my whole coaching philosophy has switched to three things: 3 key personal goals, 3 business goals, and then 3 maybe fun travel things that you want to do in here. So that's what you'll have in this 333. And that way you're keeping it super focused and you're not overwhelmed with making a list of 20 things that you're never going to do this year. Right.
And you know what's awesome about the whole making sure that you write down some goals or have some goals as far as doing some traveling or getting out and doing some fun. I know, and I'm speaking, for you here, Jan, that I knew Jan always talked about going to national parks and getting out and actually doing things. Last year, she actually put down her roadmap and she actually said, I'm doing this, and that. And she accomplished every single thing. Exactly right. And
we included that sheet coming up here. And so I want to share that again. So backing up for a second, you write your 3 big goals, and then this sheet is nothing more than to go back to your example that we were talking about at the beginning when you guys are planning a trip. So do you know where you're going to go this year, by the way, in 2018?
Absolutely. Going to Olympic National Park up in Washington. We've been wanting to go there for years, but we never put the maps up now.
So Pacific Northwest, right? And so
That's
the whole
right.
idea here would be, this works for any kind of a goal also. So if you take that big goal and then just break it down into these simple things. What's the goal? It's to visit, for the Emersons, it's to visit the Pacific Northwest in July, right?
That's right.
And then it's the deadline, the budget, the resources, and then the action plan. Now, the action plan is where you guys jump in, and probably Laura's going to be doing research. You get the map out, and you do this whole thing. Well, that is what this detail is. That's how you guys accomplish visiting the Pacific Northwest, because you're going to start the planning. You already started the planning, actually,
That's right.
when you were away in July, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
I love it. So this is what Matt was talking about. So this was something we designed last year. We had something called our Roadmap to Success last year, and this was one of the pages in it. And we just kind of took and expanded it this year to all the documents that are in my path. But I have to tell you something. I had this document right in front of where my computer is. I looked at it all the time, and it was designed, and we've changed it a little bit this year, but it literally was designed so that I had a goal that every month I was going to go somewhere and go out. And even if it was just to go take a hike locally, there's great places to hike here in Vegas, Red Rock, Mount Charleston. There's places in Utah that are just a day trip. But this is where the Yosemite trip went up here. And all the other things I wanted to do, whether it was to visit a park or to get up and get out and do something, or to actually take family vacations and so forth, every month I had something I was going to do. Some of them were obviously vacations. The coolest part about this, I just actually started a new one, is I accomplished all of it. We made a decision on not doing a cruise, but we did something, but we had it there, and we may do that cruise next year as an example. So this is just a monthly sort of, what's the focus, or what's something that you're going to just focus on. So you may have these bigger goals, but in January, maybe your personal and your business goal is to focus on one project or one area. And that's just a real simple sheet to help you with that. Now we've built a couple pipeline type things in here for you. So this is a great thing to say, who do you have as clients in 30, 60, 90 days? And you can have fun with this, because you can even use these as little Post-it notes or put Post-it notes on this. where then you move people and you have a visual. Most people are visual. So we designed this so that you can print it out and use it as you like. And the same thing here. This is a project pipeline, and it's the do, doing, done. You'll find this in Trello if you like the app called Trello. This is kind of a philosophy in Trello where you create your project, the things you want to do, then you move them over here to doing when they're in progress, and then when they're done, they go over here. All right, so really some fun things to do that. And the last part about this My Path is accountability. If you're going to set goals, create projects, whether it's planning your vacation for the year, and as Matt was talking about, or whatever these bigger issues, bigger things that you want to work on, you've got to hold yourself accountable. So we've included a couple worksheets in this download by quarter so that you can come in, and couple things that happen for you. One is a weekly roadmap, and then we have a daily roadmap. So this is just a simple way. I find that there's so many things to do, right? There's just always so many things. And even though I use technology and my calendar and my phone, I still write lists. I don't know about you, Matt. Are you
Oh my gosh, I'm a huge list writer. Yeah, I might not be a long-term goal planner, but I am a huge list writer because it's fun to check them off. I'm telling you, when you get to check off things off your list, you have accomplished something for the day. Do
you just use a good old yellow pad or a small pad and a pencil
an actual pencil? Yes, I do.
I just wanted to bring that up because I noticed that you use a pencil. And is there a reason for a pen? I never see anybody using a pencil.
Because pencils feel good, and I don't know, just like the way that it feels in your hand when you're writing.
All right, so Matt is a collector of pencils, where I am always on the search for the epic pen that I have not found yet. So just good to know out there, listeners. Matt's a pencil
Here's
guy.
An example of some pencils. Like, this is more pencils than you would ever need in your life.
So I don't know. It's kind of exciting. Maybe I'm going to have to think about trying out a pencil. I do have a couple of them. Look, it's not even sharp. Here's one. I think I actually got one of these from you, now that I think about it. The Ritz-Carlton pencil. I don't know where I picked that up, but that's pretty awesome, actually. All right, so the weekly roadmap was this idea of, instead of having, like, if you're like me, then I have pads for the different areas of whatever I'm working on, notepads and so on. So that's fine if you still have that. But the idea of the weekly roadmap is to say, what do I really want to take off those huge lists and I'm going to focus on? And so this is something that's worked for me so that I actually get things accomplished. Because what happens is you get overwhelmed with all the things that you do. And multitasking is a myth, right? So we certainly don't want to start 5 different projects. And I'm speaking from experience here because this is what I think I am as this multitasker. And I've learned over the years, and it's working for me now, and this is why we developed this, is that I just need to go ahead and take 3 things off that list, and that's going to be my focus for the week, and I'm going to get them done, then I'm going to feel good that I got them done. So that's what this is about. What is the focus for the week? What are the connections is our key word for relationships, building relationships for business. So that's going to be any calls that you have to make, emails that you need to do, text, what are the priority tasks, and then an area for your notes. And then you can break the weekly down into daily. Now, daily goes with something that we're going to do in an upcoming episode. Our tip's going to be talking about creating your daily ritual. And so this is designed to support you in that, and having a morning ritual, whether that be working out or meditating or doing something, going up and taking a walk, stretching, setting yourself up for success and not just rolling out of bed and going to your phone is the idea here, is just avoid that. And then there's a place for you, if you are going to journal, to do that in the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. And then here again, it's 4 key areas. What's your focus for the day? What are the main 3 things that you need to do in your business to drive it forward every single day? Everybody ought to have 3 things that you do in your business like clockwork. And it could be everything from writing a note to handing out business cards to making a call to your database and so on. Connections that you have to make today and tasks that you have to do. So the idea is that you just print a bunch of these out. And just keep them. As a matter of fact, I want to share. I just went and had it bound. I went to the local office place and took our PDF, which you could do, and decided to bind mine so that I will use it and keep it with me all the time. So that's something that you could do with this. And then the last piece of this quarterly checkup is a tune-up, right? It's to check in and see, what did you do in the last quarter? What kind of sales, revenue, and expenses? So you're staying on track with that. So you have that for the end of the year this year. what are you on track with? What challenges did you run into this quarter, and what are you going to do about it? And then any corrections that you need to make. All right, so that is our My Path 2018. And again, you can just go to WBNLcoaching.com. It's actually on our blog, and you'll find it in the show notes below. And this download, along with the other download, and as well as things that we've talked about so far in this episode, so that you can go get all this free stuff and get focused for the new year.
So getting up and getting out is an important part of reaching alignment and connection. We've been talking about that throughout the episode today. In order for you to fire on all cylinders, you need to have an open mind and be refreshed so that you are ready to take on the world. As a little setup to what the Wandering Zen segment of our podcast is going to be all about, it's presented to really inspire you to take care of yourself. And that's right, to take care of you. That's really a very important part of it. There are many times you probably feel like you carry the weight of the world really on your shoulders, and maybe you do. But it's really critical that you focus on your top priorities, obviously, but it's also really important that you take a little step out of your basic little routine. So Wandering But Not Lost Coaching was founded on the principle that balance is the key to prosperity. Happiness, contentment, joy, whatever you call it, it's the essential to being truly fulfilled in life. So with that said, we recommend you get outside, breathe, and get a little exercise. Look for the little things that surround you. Look at the architecture, the foliage, the sound, the trees. Oh my God, the trees. John O'Brien's a big tree person too. I know that. Each one can tell you a different story. The things that they've seen surely will put your present day thoughts aside, even if for that one single moment of wandering Zen. So I just want to, there's 1,000 stories I can talk about as far as where we've gone and where we traveled. But I think where kind of our spot, our Zen is, my wife and I, is Yosemite Valley. There's something about going there that just transforms us and takes us to a different place. When we're there, we can literally just let the outside world go, keep it behind, and really just focus on re-energizing and recharging your life. And most people have a place like that. And even if you can't think of something off the top of your head, you probably do. And if you don't, as you pay attention to it and start looking for it, you're going to find your little, your happy place, your thoughtful spot, as Winnie the Pooh would say. But in going to Yosemite, there's a million different things you can do there. But for us, it's really the simple thing of just getting off like I said before, getting off the beaten path. The great thing about going to any national park or any park really anywhere is that it might seem really crowded in certain areas, but you get 500 feet away from the crowd and you are literally alone. Even in Yosemite National Park, where millions of people go every year. And what we like to do there is just walk the valley floor. It's not strenuous, but it is the most awe-inspiring place for us anyway to walk around. That the valley floor walk can be, a mile, it can be 15 miles, whatever you want to do and however far you want to go. But around every turn, there's something to look at. There's something that you can, just kind of put into your memory bank or, onto your phone. We take a ton of pictures that you can look back on throughout the year and reflect. And it actually takes you right back to that happy spot. So Yosemite Valley, to me, is that place. And Jan, I know you have places that you've been this year and
first
been
I
in the
want
past.
to say I want to thank you guys for introducing me to the Emerson version of Yosemite Valley, because when I went on that trip with you, and as you say, it's not strenuous unless you are hiking with the Emersons, who nearly did kill me because they are hikers and they put a lot of miles in. I don't know how many steps we did on that trip, but I will tell you that as you were describing it just now, I was taken back to literally walking on that valley floor where I lost these glasses. Laura found them. We backtracked. I mean, there were so many great memories there because it was just amazing. And it was being in the moment. I'm telling you, that is so far, I haven't seen a park that I've only been to a few, the ones in Utah, a few state parks here and then the southeast part of the country. So I've got a lot to see yet. And I love trees, as you mentioned. So Sequoia is on, and so are being able to go to the redwoods and see that as well. But if I was going to say where is a space that does that for me, it's Sedona, Arizona. I usually take an annual trek, and it had been several years since I had gone, and I got to do that last year. And It was awesome. I love it. Just because it's very spiritual for me. There's awesome places to hike, and I just enjoy the energy that's in Sedona. And it's only a 4.5 hour ride from here, so that's a place for me. But I want to get back to Yosemite for something and ask you a question. Is there a particular time that's better to go to Yosemite? Because I know you guys go. You've gone in all seasons, but can you talk a little bit about that?
To me, there really is no best time, honestly. I mean, we love going in the fall because we are autumnal people. Jan's favorite word, autumnal. We love the fall leaves into the foliage during that time of the year. But actually, anytime you go to any of these parks, you're going to find something different. And I think that's what's so wonderful about it. Going at different times and comparing and seeing how things really morph over the 12 months is a fascinating study. And what I really want you guys to think about when you're out walking around, it's not about the destination, right? It's not like I'm going to hike the valley floor. It's about the journey. When you are walking around anywhere, a lot of times you're just kind of focused on walking, right? And getting to point B. But if you just stop every once in a while and look around, I'll tell you, one of the most amazing things that I find when I'm at Yosemite is just the reflections that you see in the water. And I'm not talking about just in like on the waterfalls or in the streams and rivers that run through there. It's like down to after a rain or after the snow starts melting, if you just come across a puddle that you could so easily just, try not to walk through, right? You're walking around it. But if you stop and look inside that and see the reflection of what you are, what's around you, it can be an amazing thing. And I can't tell you how many hours literally over the time we've been in Yosemite where we have spent just staring at puddles.
You have the proof in your photos that you're showing on your site that really show that. And it was amazing. It was like, besides Mirror Lake, which is so famous for the reflections of Half Dome and all of that, but I was puddle gazing as well on that.
And it's funny because you will come across people that will be. This happened to us several times where we're standing there looking at the ground, and other hikers will come up and be like, "What do you guys look? What do you look? Yeah, what are you looking at?" And then very quickly they're like, "Oh my God." That's amazing. Whether it be, a reflection of the rocks and trees or the granite cliffs that are towering above you or the sky or the clouds. I mean, that to me is what Wandering Zen is all about. It's those little moments that are so easily missed if you don't just stop and really take time to look for them. Little flowers in the spring and summer, any of these national parks, are once again so easy just to walk on by. But when you stop and think about the amazing, process that these plants go through, to grow in some of these really, really harsh conditions, it's really kind of a miracle. So
that's such an awesome way to end this first episode, because it is about being in the moment and how many people would never even know about. Because I just tell you that no matter where I am now and I'm going somewhere and I see a puddle, I stop and look at it because I never really saw that before until you kind of open my eyes to it. So perfect example of being in the moment and stopping and just literally seeing and sensing, not just visually, but just being exactly wherever you are at the moment. That was pretty powerful as well.
Yeah, and it really, once again, the reason why we want you to do this is we want you to find some balance. We want you to be able to refresh and really get back into the zone, right? And if you can clear your mind of all of the clutter that was there before, all the things that are on your list of things to do, and you come back refreshed, you can really tackle those things with a whole new perspective. And a lot of times you'll be able to get things done a lot faster because you'll have your mind is going to be thinking in different ways. You're going to be way outside of the box when you come back and start looking at these things again, some things that maybe have been stumping you for a while. So really recognizing the moment of Zen, that Wandering Zen, is really the key to the equation of how do you find balance in your life. You really have to look at things, and I mean really look at things. Like I said, it sounds ridiculous. However, we're programmed, like I mentioned, to go from A to B. A to B, I mean, my gosh, there's a lot of alphabet left, right? So we invite you to go from A to Wandering Zen. And like I had mentioned earlier, we really want to hear your stories. We want you to join the conversation and join the community of wanderers that we want to build, sharing stories and ideas of how to get up and get out. The wanderers who have found balance, alignment, connection, and ultimately prosperity. If you'd like to share your Wandering Zen moments, just leave your comments below.
All right, and that does it for our first episode of the Wandering But Not Lost podcast. Remember, go to WBNLcoaching.com where you'll find links to our podcast show notes. You can also go to wanderingbutnotlost.com. That's Matt's travel-inspired blog. And we'll have links to the article that he wrote on Yosemite. So really recommend you take a look at that. If you're planning to go to Yosemite this year, you'll want to check out his awesome insights and travel tips on the things that you want to do that are a little bit off the beaten path. So with that, I'll say see you in the next episode.
Episode 2 coming up next week.
Awesome. Bye now.
Bye.